Welcome to Reflections, a program where we discuss values and virtues for the transformation of the individual and the society in general. I am Father George Ehusani, and I have with me in the studio today Wale or Olawale Okunniyi, alias Veteran Che. You're welcome. Oh no, okay, we're still in the COVID era, so
it's my pleasure to be with you, Father.
Keep your Lagos COVID with you. I mean, we are safer in Abuja than Lagos.
It's everywhere.
Now, you're welcome to Abuja and to this studio. You are the National Secretary of the National Consultative Front.
Yes.
I happen to be one of you, and tell us what our viewers, what the National Consultative Front is all about.
Thank you, Father, and it's my pleasure to be with you here. Well, the initiative, National Consultative Front, is an intervention by eminent Nigerians and leaders of conscience who are aspiring to rescue Nigeria from the present rot and anarchy and growing tension and imminent civil war. And it's an initiative that for itself is driven by the citizens. Citizen-driven and process-led, so to say. And it has set for itself agenda to deal with the foundation of the crisis that is rocking Nigeria. And that foundation can be located within the flawed and warped constitution of Nigeria. It has also, it's also designed to also create a mass movement that can sponsor credible candidates at some point if we're able to deal with the constitutional crisis rocking the country. Our research and discussion and deliberation have revealed to us that the actual problem with Nigeria is non-agreement in terms of the constitution of the country. The way the Nigerian constitution was foisted is such that it excluded wide range of stakeholders and the people. As a matter of fact, research have also proven to us that what we have is a military decree number 24 of 1999, and not a constitution in the real sense of it. And the maker of that constitution also said to us, some of us who were coming from the Prodemocracy Movement, when we challenged him at that point, I remember Chief Tony Enauro of blessed memory raising fundamental issue about there is no constitution of the people, there is no way you can have democracy. And he said Nigerians at that time did not want the military anymore, and he didn't intend to stay. That was General Abdul Salami Abubakar, who is still living. And so he would want to implore Nigerians or us at that time that the succeeding regime should take over that bit of having to put in place a proper people's constitution.
Thanks for reminding me. You were part of the Pro-Democracy Movement.
Sure.
What is this group that was rallying around Enahoro?
That was NADECO. We started from
NADECO,
CD,
okay.
Campaign for Democracy. We started CDHR, Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. There was CLO, there was UAG. I was part of all of that. There was JACON, the last one, where we split into people who want to participate in transition and those who didn't want to participate in the political transition program.
But those of you, I mean, many of you who were very active in the pro-democracy movement before 1999, especially between 1993 and 1999, I think many of you should be held responsible for where we find ourselves today, because it's like you are fighting for democracy and you were not ready when democracy came. Many of you were not ready, which is why there were so few of you that actually went into politics.
Sure,
and,
Father.
Apart from people like Abdul Oro, who later joined, there are very few people who are in the forefront of democracy movement. I mean, Clem Nwankwo, Chima Ubani, Olisa Abakoba, Femi Falana, and all these people. What happened to you when democracy just emerged? When God heard our prayer and democracy came, what happened to you guys? You went to sleep, and now you are waking up 20 years after to talk of starting another pro-democracy movement.
Well, I think what happened at that point was it came to us suddenly because it was death of Abacha. We were fighting and fighting. At that point, we hadn't really prepared to govern, really. We were organizing to take power back to the people and send military packing. And we're doing everything to do that, to force them. Babangida first stepped aside. But this death of Abacha came suddenly, almost unexpected. Most of our leaders were in prisons. And we're not quite ready to take power. But some of us, because there was a split, started to debate that it would be wrong for us to say, well, there was no constitution. That created a major problem because a segment led by Chief Enauro, in terms of ideas, and Professor Shoyinka and co, and even Ganifa Emi here back in Nigeria, felt that you needed a people's constitution to drive democracy.
Since there was no people's democracy, you people were not yet ready to be involved.
Yeah, but a few of us, and I was inclusive, Chima Ubani, Comrade Olawale of blessed memory, Baba Mojala, and we said, well, we can't afford this vacuum. Well, if Abu Salami had said that, the next regime should do it, he doesn't want to stay in power because Nigerian. Let us seize the momentum. Let us seize the space. Let us give leadership to our foot soldiers and all those that we have recruited and mobilized. So there was that split, and it made the movement not very formidable at the outset of this present. Because even the creation of parties, I recall that Chief Ganifa Emi, who was leading NCP, decided not to participate and was
that was the National Conscience Party. Yes.
And he said wasn't so a section of that party team up with us. They left the NCP to team up with AG. And a section of the Prodemocracy formed what you call Democratic Alternative, led by Dr. Abayomi Ferreira, Chima Ubani, and I was involved at that level. So, and again, because we were not very cohesive, we didn't make much impact on that day. So a few of us again left.
What is clear to me, I mean, I witnessed all that and I was involved. What is clear to me is definitely, as you said, we were not ready.
You were not
as you said, you are not ready.
Yeah,
and some of the key leaders were in fact in prison. I remember that Olisa Abakoba was in Enugu prison when Abacha died.
And most of other leaders were
out
abroad.
of the country.
Yes, in exile.
Most of
them
and
co. Yeah. But the Afenifere people here who were in Jakon were here. They decided even Nadeko split to two.
Yeah.
Those who said they wanted to participate and those who Tinubu left. Had agreed with them in the US that they were not going to participate, but it went behind to Chief Enauro and said, these people at home are going to let me go and try.
Now, across the country on the national level, it turned out that a number of those who quickly jumped into the bandwagon were people who propped up the military, the people who supported the military, the people who sustained military rule.
Oh, yes.
They were now among those who quickly came back.
Oh, yes.
They were the ones that were known by the military and supported by the military.
Oh, yes.
And if you know what happened between 1998 and 1999, when the new government took off, a lot of the people who went into politics were sponsored by retired military generals.
Of course, yes, you are right.
Because they did not have the money.
Yes.
And retired military generals had the funds.
Oh, yes.
And it has turned out to be so till today that actually either the person is a military general or a crony of some military general, or somebody who knows somebody who was,
in power.
So it's some kind of military rule by extension.
Oh yes, what we have is just putting off military uniform and putting on agbada. That's what. Nothing has changed. What you have is not democracy, and I think the Nauru group was very quite right. That what we should have said. But we thought that maybe, for instance, we would have a progressive. That there was no way we were going to win that election, and then the first thing we would have done is to put in place a constitutional process, a profound constitutional process where people will be elected to a constituent assembly, and then we can have a Nigerian people's constitution. Okay. That didn't happen because
21 years after, you are telling me that you are back in the trenches, as it were.
Of course, I mean, there is no hand in sight.
Are there members of this National Consultative Front who were active then, 21, 22, 25 years ago, who are now involved again in the National Consultative Front?
Oh, we have.
Can we have some of them?
Professor Pat told me was leading concerned professionals, and today is the chair or co-chair of the National Consultative Front. You have Obi Ezekwe Sili, also
who was active
in the concerned professional, and even this is what we call CDD, Center for Democracy and Development. Now involved. As a matter of fact, we have Ehusani, for instance,
Senator
Ehusani and co. And few
others,
Olisa Agbakoba, Michael Zekome, they all.
Now, what about in the north? People would like to know who are active from the north.
Professor Atairu Jega was ASU chairman. Yes. Professor Atairu Jega was there. I've mentioned Ehusani. Dr. Baba Ahmed. No, I'm saying he was not that active then. I think was a permanent secretary
at that time. Okay.
Government. He's been in government. Okay. So so we've all come a long way, and we told ourselves that we have not solved the problem that we were trying to solve 25 years ago. We have not. The problem of doing to have not been because you can't build democracy on a military decree. And we must drive home this point. If the foundation be faulty, what can the righteous do? The foundation upon which we are building Nigeria is the one creating the problems and crisis.
So the National Consultative Front
is set out to solve that problem. And it has set up, to that extent, it has set up a constitutional dialogue committee and a constitutional drafting committee to begin to mobilize Nigerians to even stop what is going on, the anarchy that is going on. That let's engage in discussion. Because I wouldn't know why government would not want to use that strategy. But then we saw it as a solution. Can we douse this? Can we discuss? Can we lead the people in a constitutional dialogue where their opinion and decision will matter, and then engage government? So what we are doing now is to create an all-inclusive, participatory, transparent process of bringing about a people's constitution for Nigeria.
What some of our viewers would like to know is how widespread, how representative this National Consultative Front is. How representative, by which I mean northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast, south, middle belt. Can you name?
If you look at southwest,
yes,
I am from southwest, for instance. Dr. Olawale, Ogbeni Lanre Banjo, various state in the southwest.
Yes,
like Dr. Tokunbo Dosunmu Awolowo.
Yes,
who is co-chair of the Constitutional Dialogue Committee.
Yes.
From southwest. Very, very vital name in the southwest.
Yes.
Agule has been the minister.
Dr. Agule, who was minister,
and so on and so forth, and so many others like that within southwest. Even Comrade Femi Falana. Yes. Started this process together and is a member of that Constitution Dialogue Committee, pioneered by Professor Pat Tomi. And then in South you have Michael Zekome, SAN Chief Michael Zekome. You have Pat Tomi himself, from South, well, maybe South, and others, Chief Elikema, Ancho Briggs.
There's a professor from Nsukka, right? That is a member.
Yes, Professor Iliagu, Sawa Iliagu, Professor of Political Science. So they are from
Southeast.
Now,
what about Olisagbakoba?
Southeast, Obi Ezekwesili from the Southeast, and others.
So tell us about Middle Belt now.
The Middle Belt, you have our friend Dr. Badia Melafia
Badia,
is from there. Jembi Abba is from there. Issa Remu recently was appointed. It's from, I think, from Middle Belt. That's Kwara. I wouldn't. Yes.
Now, sorry that I'm catching you up on this. You didn't bring a list. Not central. You have mentioned Senator Ehusani, not central.
No, Ehusani is from Northwest.
Northwest, okay.
That's Kaduna.
Now, any other
and then you have Usman Bugaji, who is also a co-chair of that concern dialogue committee. You have Professor Atairu Jega, who is an advisor to that committee.
Okay.
So from Northeast, you have Buba Galadima, you have can I remember? Then we have Najatu Mohammed, Ajia Najat from Northwest too, and then Buba Galadima and Co.
Okay. Now you have mentioned Hajia. It occurs to me to ask how balanced these are, male, female, because apart from Ezekwesili, Obi Ezekwesili, and Dosumo Awolowo, you have not mentioned many women. I mean,
no, they are there because I'm just taking it from the point, because it's a mass movement. It's a big movement. I can't recall.
I know.
But I'm just taking it from the constitutional dialogue. You have Koyotoyo
from the South.
You have just to, I mean, it's not a list that is before me, but I know that there are quite a number of women, even from Southeast, sitting with Dr. Lubumi, who see, Abuja, maybe not Central, maybe Dr. Lubumi, who see Wilson, who ran for Senate in Abuja.
Good.
Is involved.
That convinces me and perhaps our viewers that this has a national spread. The movement has a national spread.
It does.
How realistic is the project of coming up with a people's constitution, which at the end of the day we can say we the people, which is your aim, your goal?
Yeah.
How realistic under the present circumstances where the National Assembly says it is our responsibility, it is our prerogative to do constitutional amendment, you have no powers to initiate a new constitution? What is the response of the National Consultative Front to the National Assembly that maintains, for example, that we are the only ones constitutionally allowed to tinker with the Constitution?
No, we are not tinkering. We are not amending. We are finding a popular people's replacement for what we have. And it's two different things. We are not making laws.
Okay.
The lawmakers, the parliament, is to make law and to amend laws. They are not to give a constitution.
Okay.
A constitution can only be given by the people of the country.
Okay.
No government arm, not even the presidency, which is the executive or judiciary or parliament, can give you a constitution, can give a nation constitution, because they are agents of the people. The constitution is the ground norm by which the people are given. It is first given and determines how government evolves or government are run. And so it is then given to the agent of the people, which are in government. So the saying that it is we, yes, they have a role to play. And I think Michael Zekome said, advised them recently that they can activate Section 4 in bringing about a people's constitution. Because you see, it's not just a constitution, it's not all about the paper. It is the process process of reconciliation and national healing that goes into that process. That is what we are dealing with. It is spiritual. It has its own spirit. It was Montesquieu who said that there is a spirit of the law.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is the spirit of the nation that goes into it, and then there is an agreement. We, the people, various stakeholders from various units, we are not even one in Nigeria, have agreed to this norm. This is the way we want to run peacefully and amicably. And when the people agrees, and it becomes a constitution, constituting the nation. That is the first, that is when you must have constituted a country. For now, you don't have a country. You don't have any, what you have is foisted. And that is why nobody believes in Nigeria, because they were not part of constituting it.
What do you mean by nobody believes in Nigeria?
When you see what is going on, the amount of corruption, the amount of tension, the amount of insecurity, banditry, and all of that, kidnapping and unknown government, you know that nobody believes. Even in the presidency, even in the National Assembly, people go there, use their agbada to carry things away. Nobody's, and that is why people will still so humongously what they don't need, because they don't believe.
So it's just come to loot this.
It's a contraption that cannot work, and everybody knows we are deceiving ourselves, and that's why we have assembled or mobilized and getting leaders of conscience. We will also become victim. We will also become victim if care is not taken, and we are already becoming victim. Can we save ourselves too? Why we save the country? Because now people are getting poorer. People are getting murdered. Good people. The daughter of Power Fashion was murdered recently. So many. So we need to do something to intervene, to say, well, we are in this place.
So you are linking the many challenges of the country today, including heightened security challenges, the economic problem, and all this, to the fact that we really have not agreed to be one country.
Fantastic. That we do not have a profound or an acceptable and agreed constitutional foundation. And I spoke about if the foundation of anything, even this house, anything you do, if the foundation before it will generate crisis, it will create a collapse. Nigeria is about to collapse. Nigeria is now seen as the poverty capital of the world. Is seen as a criminal enterprise, and is seen as a failed state where government now koto to bandits. And you say we should not do something about that. We need to rally people to say, well, if people in government cannot see this, we are even rallying government into this process. We are rallying because they may not know. It was Ruben Abati who said that they don't know what they do in the villa because people walk with their head on. People laughed at it. Because I wondered. I worked with General Muhammadu Buhari to bring him to power. I practically created the platform that became CPC and even SDP. I was the Secretary General. All of them were mobilized under Chief Enauro to say we have to stop one party state.
So if something
PDP was trying to force, PDP was trying to force.
If we have bad rule now, we should hold you responsible.
Yeah, we have. That is why we are saying that we can't continue. You can, when you see things are going wrong, you can say, well, we are sorry. That was not what we said we were going to do. We sat quietly in the room and said we were going to do ABC, and that has not been done. Maybe because they said there is demon or something in that place, people don't know.
So when people get to that place,
they don't know.
So how am I sure that if your group gets there tomorrow, that same demon will not harass you?
Because we are going to deal with the foundation first before we get there. We are dealing with it. And I said to the leader when this thing was, and I think Erufai was seated, who tried to oppose. I said, this place in Abuja, I said, we must deal with what we want to do with power when we get there. But Erufai said on that day that, no, let us get power first. Come later. And so we didn't really, although there was something that looks like constitution or manifesto. People were not, when people are not involved in they do not, how many people know about
the manifesto of
APC? How many people have seen it? So things like this must be popularized among members. There will be political, just like how we did in the past. consistent, regular political education for cadres. When you are groomed, well groomed, they throw you to the next and say you can go to this local government. Even as professors, you come in, there is debate. Every week debate. Either in a kennel or whatever. And people, businessmen that were trained. Badamoshi,
Thank
Chief
you.
Enauru as youth.
Thank you. On this note, we'll be bringing this segment of our discussion to an end. I have been speaking with Olawale Okunniyi, National Secretary of the National Consultative Front, NCF, a group that is trying to bring Nigeria together again, but first of all, set up the ground norm, revisit the whole issue of the foundation of our nationhood by setting up a new constitution that they hope will arise from the grassroots, and they hope that people will buy into so that we can begin to move forward. It is true that Nigeria is indeed in trouble today, and I hope that this group that for which you are Secretary General will succeed. And there are so many other groups that are arising today because everybody is concerned that where Nigeria is heading is not where we all desire to head. We pray that God will grant success to these ventures. Amen. Thank you for coming to the studio.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.